Hello everybody, Resonance here, and today I have another expert game for you guys as part of my Break the Meta series for Age of Empires 2. Throughout this series, I'll be showcasing a wide variety of creative and situational strategies while evaluating how they might stack up in the current metagame. We've all seen our fair share of galley rushes and knights, so today it's time for something completely different. It's time for a fast castle age with no walls. In this expert match, DauT will be playing against Cyclops in a 1v1 on the map Arabia. At the right corner of the map, we have DauT playing as the Red Turks. And on the far left-hand side of the map, we have Cyclops playing as the Blue Aztecs. You didn't hear me wrong, by the way. We're about to see a fast castle age on Arabia with no walls, which is absolutely crazy. Arabia is one of the most aggressive maps in the game. Maps like these are so very difficult to wall, especially DauT's map. Let's take a look. DauT's map is actually terrible. This is almost impossible to wall. There's just so much area at the front that he just cannot close off. There's also this huge, massive hill at the front of his base too. For reasons like that, because of the hills and the sparse vegetation, walling on a map like Arabia is really, really difficult. This is one of the most open maps in the game, and therefore, going for something greedy like a fast castle age is relatively unheard of. The aggressor is almost always favored on open maps like these. You'll only see a player going for like a straight traditional fast castle age, obviously besides myself, on a map like Black Forest or Arena. Because you start with walls on Arena, and on Black Forest, there happens to be enough trees that they create a nice makeshift choke point for you that is easy to wall up. There is nothing protecting DauT here from any form of early aggression, and not only that, he's playing against the Aztecs, one of the kings of early aggression. Because the Aztecs don't have to research Loom, they get that for free. And that's an insanely strong bonus. What that means is that they, not only do they save 50 gold, but they also get essentially an extra villager. When you research Loom, you are cutting villager production for that time frame, and the amount of time that it takes to research Loom is basically the same as it takes to create a villager, so the Aztecs will eventually develop a 1 villager lead. They'll have an extra 50 gold. All of this combines to a really, really potent early game militia drush. The militia drush from the Aztecs is obviously very scary because, you know, while militia cost 20 gold a pop to make, you actually have 100 gold rather than most civs will have 50 gold, you know, after they research Loom. But the Aztecs have 100, which means you can go for like 5 militia, you go for 4, you don't have to go for 3, which is standard. Normally you'll have 50 gold left over, so you would, you know, mine 10 gold from your main gold mine, and then you would just spend your 60 gold total on 3 militia. But the Aztecs, man, they can go the whole way. They can throw in all the way up to 5 militia, and we know that Cyclops is going for the very standard Aztec Drush, because, you know, we see 4 villagers on wood here. That is the general giveaway. When you see 4 villagers on wood, that generally means you're thinking of like an early barracks, an early dock, or something like that. You're trying to stockpile that wood. We also do see 4 villagers on wood from DauT, so that could signify an early barracks. Perhaps some walling. We're gonna have to see. He's up to something, and he is gonna be luring this boar over here. But if we check out the population, remember 14 for Cyclops, DauT 13. It's that 1 villager lead that you get from the Aztecs getting free Loom that really, really matters. The thing is that on a map like Arabia, you're opening, like, you either decide in the Dark Age, like, do you drush or do you not drush? That's the general thing, and it depends on your civilization, the matchup, the map, the situation. And in this case, I mean, you're the Aztecs, so most of the time you want to drush it. Especially, like, from looking at your opponent's map. Cyclops hasn't actually scouted this yet, so he doesn't actually know exactly how bad DauT's map is, but it is super duper open. The one thing that stops a drush is if your opponent has a map that is, like, feasibly wallable. Players do use palisade walls, houses, their buildings and whatnot to create, like, a makeshift wall off. And that is the best way to deal with the drush, to try and restrict the mobility of those militia. Militia are obviously very, very weak units in the early game, so, you know, they're never going to get through a palisade wall in time, and that's why the palisade can be, oh, so very, very effective here. I also like that Cyclops did, you know, lure in one of those deer early on. That definitely does give you a pretty solid eco boost here. Right now he's just waiting to get enough wood for his barracks so he can go build that down and get that Drush rolling, and he's using this villager to go push this deer in since he was already using this again to set up like a sort of makeshift wall off. We can see the beginnings of it here. He's got these two houses. He can close this off by bringing a palisade all the way over here to this forest. So the Drush is like infinitely better if you if your opponent has a really, really open map, man. Well, we know that DauT's also playing defensively because he's using his scout here to go lure in a boar. Wait, did he? Okay, I actually did not catch this. I don't think this actually might be a stolen boar. Yeah, no, that is a stolen boar. So he actually did steal Cyclops' boar there, which is actually very, very bad for Cyclops here. And that's one of the reasons actually that he's going to be able to get away with this. That's really interesting. So DauT here, sneaky with his scout, did manage to go nab a boar. And this means that Cyclops, of course, has to lure in deer. You can't really just go heavy on farms and whatnot. The amount of like food that you gather from the wild boar and the deer is like absolutely huge in the early game. Your villagers also gather food from them very, very quickly. You can't afford to not hunt at the highest level of Age of Empires 2. You have to. This is a huge source of essentially free food. And DauT being able to steal this is one of the reasons why he's able to fearlessly go for a fast castle age with no walls on Arabia. Insanely risky, but by stealing this wild boar, he is sort of offsetting the huge economy discrepancy going on right now between the Aztecs early game and the Turks early game. The Aztecs also happen to create military units 15% faster, which is no joke, of course. And here comes the militia train marching across the desert, slowly on the way to DauT's base. And for those of you who are not aware, even though militia has, absolutely garbage combat stats, and then against a villager with loom, the villagers with loom can easily fight back against the militia. It's not about killing the villagers. It's all about getting your opponent's villagers to, like, be idle. Like, if they fight you back, then they aren't gathering any resources, and that actually does a lot of damage to someone's economy, and it really adds up over time. You would really be surprised how effective a Drush can actually be. And the Aztec player, of course, Cyclops here, is going to be bringing in his Eagle Scout with this to go doing a little bit of extra damage to these villagers. As we can see here, he's going to be focus firing down this one villager. DauT's going to attempt to pull back here. Some really good micro here from Cyclops as he does keep his militia alive, and good micro here from DauT as well. Does keep his villager alive. You have to be really careful managing all your health bars in this situation. We see the third militia has arrived now. Yeah, actually, Cyclops here... does he have, how many militia does he have here? He's got, okay, no, so he did go for, 4, it looks like, actually. So he does not have, did he not go for 5th militia? He might not have actually made the 5th militia here. Not quite sure. Either way, he's moving in here, trying to do some aggression, and DauT's gonna go for some deer right now, as he needs food badly. Having the... Not only did, like, the boar steal actually slow down the Aztec players substantially, but it also gives DauT a huge boost in food. And he's trying to get whatever food he can and get out as fast as possible, because he needs to go to the castle age, like, right now. Having that extra boar, absolutely huge. But right now, his economy is actually set up quite nicely. We can see that he has organized his villagers so that he'll have basically exactly 200 gold by the time he's in the feudal age with his blacksmith and market up. And yeah, he'll also have very, very close to 800 food. But he has to defend against this Drush. He knows that he will kind of be able to, though, because he stole that boar. Like, it really all hinges on this boar steal. Really matters a lot here. And it's going to boil down to some very strong micro here from both players to try and repel this Drush. DauT he's just not in a position where he could easily, like, wall up. And not only that, but he needs that wood for the blacksmith and a market. And, you will see players going for, like, a Drush into a fast castle age, because the Drush keeps your opponent, contained in his base, occupied, prevents him from attacking you back. So... you will see like a Drush into a fast castle age, but like a naked fast castle age like this is absolutely crazy on Arabia. That would never happen, except for a situation like this, where it's actually a good idea. When you can steal your opponent's boar like this, and when you're playing against the Aztecs, and you're going to be behind in the early game already, and especially considering DauT's map, his options are limited. We got a fight going on over here, both players basically coming out even. But in the meantime, the important thing to consider is that DauT isn't taking that much damage from this. This isn't too devastating. It's not slowing down his castle age. Look at the way his economy is set up here. He is good to go. He is gonna be able to advance right now. I think he just bought 100 food, or that might have been enough from the force drop off there. By garrisoning the villagers in his town center, that will allow him to, they'll all drop off their food and give him just enough to advance. So, well done on DauT. He's on his way to the castle age, and he's not dead yet. Great focus fire, picking off the low HP militia, and Cyclops has been repelled. He has to fall back. He traded for a bunch of villagers here, and it's much better to trade your militia for opposing villagers. However, DauT is on his way to the castle age. That was not punished sufficiently from Cyclops, so we'll have to see how this turns out. Okay, let's talk a little bit more about why this strategy isn't absolutely insane. You'll see like a Drush into a fast castle age, right, which is basically what Cyclops is going, because again, the militia will create the space that you need to keep yourself safe while you're vulnerable, stockpiling all those resources for the castle age. Like, I mean, let's look at this. Like, by the time, okay, you're not going to have any sort of way to defend yourself. You're going for like a naked fast castle age until like 17, 18 minutes in. Because again, he's got no barracks. He went for the blacksmith and market. You're going for fast castle age, you'll generally see like a barracks, a blacksmith, and like a stable or like an archery range. In this case, DauT's being super greedy, but this market is so important, so very important. Notice how, by the way, he's shifting everything from gold onto wood right now, because he needs a lot of wood for town centers and buildings once he gets to the castle age. Like, look at him chop these straggler trees, taking advantage of every little second. The Drush pressure is over. He knows that Cyclops is going for a Drush fast castle age, so that means that he will have to not make any archers until he has enough resources, enough gold to start advancing to the castle age. So there's like a small window here where DauT can afford to go stockpile some wood, take advantages, build some TCs. Look at this map. This map is awful. He can't wall this up. He can't really like compete with the Aztec Drush, and like, if we look at Cyclops' map, he does actually have like a decent wall off here. There's like really no point, I guess, in trying to mimic your opponent and just play from behind. And this is like a reoccurring trend that we're going to see in Break the Meta, and we've seen many, many times before. Why mimic your opponent when you're already behind? You have to take risks. You have to think outside of the box if you want to win. And the Aztecs, because their economy and their military is just so overbearing in the early game. Remember, guys, the Turks eco bonus, it's just faster gold mining, and that matters in this game, but it's just not equivalent to the Aztec aggression right now. So he could, you know, go for his own aggression. He could go for a scout rush or something. He could, you know, go for a Drush of his own, but it's not going to work because Cyclops is just going to be able to do it better because Cyclops has the stronger early game. You can't wall up here either. So, you know, that's also like really bad, and that makes a Drush fast castle weaker too if you can't wall on the back of it. Going for an extended feudal war would kind of screw him just because Cyclops' map is just infinitely better. In this case though, going for a fast castle age into extra town centers, while normally absolutely crazy, in this case, smart. Why? Because look at the way his map is set up. It might be garbage, but one man's trash is another man's treasure, and DauT sees a little bit of value here. His main gold mine right next to this forest. Perfect place for a town center. Remember, town centers are a universal resource drop-off point. You can use them as a mill, a mining camp, a lumber camp. You get so much value out of this town center by putting it next to gold and a forest. It also protects all of these villagers too. This is super duper important. Because this main gold mine is right next to the trees, going for the extra town centers, the 2 extra town centers, isn't as ridiculous as it otherwise would be. Like I said, remember, completely defenseless when you go for a naked fast castle age. 19 minutes in, the siege workshop is down. He's going to be able to start making mangonels to try and defend this. In the meantime, Cyclops, our blue Aztecs player, up to the castle age. He's got a monastery. He's making some crossbowmen, very, very standard here, and he's going to be trying to punish DauT as much as humanly possible. This is also a great place for a town center too. The way this map is set up, it might be impossible to wall, but it does favor this greedy town center play. There is no elevation over here. This town center is like near the corner of the map, so it's very hard for Cyclops to get in here. Like, this could be walled off quite easily and really restrict that mobility from Cyclops. And we know that because Cyclops didn't have a second boar, and then he went for a Drush, there's this huge window for DauT where he can put down these 2 town centers without getting sufficiently punished, whereas normally this would be absolute suicide. Cyclops here are, of course, math major, calculus expert here, gonna take the square root of the armor coefficient divided by infinity, and he knew that his crossman would live exactly with 1 HP. All calculated, he's gonna get out of there, save the day, that crossman will live. Can't say the same for this one though, with 18 HP, not gonna happen. Right in the head, gonna get hit with a blast of rocks, and he's down for the count. You might be thinking, Resonance, what is up with DauT's build? There's so many weird things going on here. You've explained how the town centers kind of make sense, but what's with his economy management? This dude is crazy on the gold. He has to do this. And another reason why the fast castle age here with the market is so much better than going into something like Knights is because look at his stone. Can't stress enough how, like, really, like, just open and crappy DauT's map is, but you have to adapt to this type of thing. You can't just play from behind doing the same thing. You have to innovate and adapt. There's no way he's gonna be able to mine this stuff. His main stone on this hill, this stone also super far forward, like, in the worst position possible, like, right next, like, on the way to Cyclops. Oh, Cyclops here! Oh, those Aztec monks, too tanky! He's actually gonna go live this one with the extra 5 HP from the Aztec civilization thing. You know, where their monks gain 5 extra HP for each tech research, so that's actually huge there, guys. Aztec monks, OP. Does convert this mangonel, and that's devastating for DauT. He needs this market, because he can't mine this stone, remember? And this gold mine is safe. So, you know what this means? The market gets a lot of value here. He's gonna need to stockpile this much gold so he can go buy stone to go build a castle, because otherwise he's not gonna get any stone at all. Like, if the gold mine wasn't here right next to this forest, then I don't know if he would have done that, especially considering that his stone is so far forward. All these factors play into this strategy actually not being insane, and actually it will be very, very effective in this specific situation. It's up to Cyclops, though, to respond and try and appropriately punish DauT and deal as much damage as possible while DauT's in this vulnerable window. Look at him stockpiling gold. He really, really needs to get this castle out right now. Otherwise, there's no other reason why he would stockpile that much gold, right? And look at him, mass buying stone as fast as he can. This town center is going to go down due to that mangonel pressure on a hill. Remember that when you have the elevation advantage, you deal more damage and you take less. So this mangonel here is going to be extremely potent. This town center taking some serious damage. I don't even know if DauT will repair this. It's up to him. Housed right now kind of sucks, but it doesn't matter because this is where it all pays off, guys. This is the moment that DauT's been waiting for. Here comes the castle. This mangonel here is going to trade with Cyclops' mangonel in time as Cyclops does not react fast enough. 55 HP monks from Cyclops, so Cyclops here going crazy with the monk upgrades. Pretty ridiculous. Right now we see 62 population, monk gets headshot, 255, but DauT's got this castle here. I wonder if he'll make Janissaries. He's gonna make Janissaries. That's absolutely awesome. So the thing here is that he doesn't have too many options, right? With the way his map is set up. His main gold right next to a forest, so this town center here is absolutely fantastic. He has like his base set up in a way that going for these town centers is actually pretty solid. But he has no stone. He can't keep this up forever. And he knows that he's just going to be playing from behind if he just mimics his opponent and just goes for like a fast castle age into crossman. He might as well do something his opponent isn't necessarily completely prepared for. And DauT has set up for this perfectly with that boar steel. This battering ram might be the nail in the coffin for this town center. It looks like DauT is going to begin repairing this. This hunk of shredded wheat over here is going to keep thumping against this town center, but I think the town center does end up staying up. Unit pathing over here is going to make this mangonel walk the long way to go take out this battering ram, and mangonel's a great response here to be able to go deal with the battering ram. But look at this, can't get past those villagers, they're too fat. You have to walk all the way around the siege workshop. This battering ram is going to be on full retreat from Cyclops, no real point there, you might as well just continue attacking it. That thing was not going to escape at all. And wow, look at the monks here. I mean, that's a lot of technologies invested in monks that we don't normally see players invest that heavily in upgrades for their monks, or really like make them too much past like 25 minutes, because like really you just want the monks and mangonel's combination out for that like early pressure to go convert your opponent's like knights and stuff, but by the time they get like a huge army, monks really just don't do that much and they're just so very expensive to upgrade. But since you're the Aztecs, you do get a lot more value out of that. Forward house coming out here onto this forage bush, and it looks like DauT has mostly stabilized. Now here is the cool part of this strategy. Because he went for this castle, you know what this means? Again, you just don't want to be mimicking your opponent when you're behind. You have to think outside the box, do something interesting here. Why fight Cyclops in the situation where he is unquestionably favored on every level? Look at Cyclops. He's on this hill. He has this ridiculous forward here. He has a mangonel. He has all these crossbowmen. Don't fight him. Don't fight him here, and DauT knows what's up. He knows that Cyclops is applying some very well-executed pressure, and he is just going to go leave his own base because he has that castle and those town centers to defend him. Cyclops won't be able to exert enough pressure fast enough to really punish DauT for doing this. There's this quick window where that castle and those town centers are so hard to deal with unless you're in the Imperial Age and you have trebuchets. So moving these Janissaries up is great. He'll also be able to cut off unit production from Cyclops. The ones that spawn out of these archer ranges will not make it. And all of Cyclops' military is super duper far forward, right? This is how you punish a player who forwards you. You turn the aggression on them because they have no defense. Cyclops is going to have to pull back his full army of crossbowmen, and DauT is on the offensive. DauT is going to start sniping off these villagers and evening out this game. We're at 93 population to 87. DauT pulling ahead of Cyclops despite being behind because he put down those extra TCs. His greed is paying off. The thing is that, like, any player can execute like a build order really, really well, but what makes what the difference between a great player and a good player is that a great player can deviate from that build and adapt to interesting and novel situations and catch their opponent by surprise. Cyclops here, caught with his pants down, has to send his entire army back, and in this time, Cyclops isn't applying any pressure here. That's why this play is so brilliant from DauT. Cyclops not only has to send his entire army back here, DauT could care less if he loses these 5 Janissaries. He just saved himself so much pressure from Cyclops. There's no way Cyclops can get through this castle, get through these town centers until he gets to the Imperial Age. DauT, the huge army of Janissaries and Mangonels, and you always want to back up your Janissaries with something like Mangonels if you can, or like Hussars, because Janissaries are really good against like close range units like hand cannoneers, similar to hand cannoneers, not like hand cannoneers are close range. Hand cannoneers and Janissaries are good against close range units like infantry, knights, and whatnot. You get enough of them because they're really inaccurate. The Janissaries and hand cannoneers are very inaccurate at long range, and they're very bad against a unit like crossbowmen. That's what makes this strategy seem, again, a little more nuts than normal, but I swear it actually kind of works. Again, Janissaries have like no pierce armor, and neither do hand cannoneers. That's why you back them up with Mangonels, because Mangonels cover the weaknesses of your Janissaries. They cover that, and that's a well-balanced army comp for you. Ooh, sneaky battering ram here. Brilliant play from Cyclops. Drops the battering ram out of the siege workshop. Surprise to try and shank this Mangonel before this Mangonel has a chance to react. But DauT here with inhuman reaction speed does notice it, and I think he's going to actually save and successfully, he's going to save his Mangonel and successfully kite this battering ram. Gunpowder units actually do like a little more than 1 damage to battering rams. They have like a slight attack bonus. Ooh, oh no! DauT, no! Oh my goodness, at the last second, Cyclops does get some sick value out of that battering ram and trade for that Mangonel. But yeah, goodness, this is actually ridiculous. Like, DauT has this window where he's able to get away with his strategy, and this well-balanced army comp from him. The siege backed up with the Janissaries is just great. You always want to cover the weaknesses of your own units here. And Cyclops, he's not giving up, man. He's like exerting pressure, and we've seen situations where this really can pay off. Remember, guys, episode 4 of Break the Meta, the Franks versus Byzantines on Arena, where we saw Lion, our Blue Franks player, go for insanely aggressive forward and try and starve his opponent out. Because right now, what DauT lacks is map control. These Janissaries are going to be great against these monks. These monks will not be able to convert it in time. Perhaps investing this heavily in monks might have been a little bit of a mistake, as the Janissaries can just kill the monks in one hit. Monks much better against something like knights, rather than mass range units. He only manages to get 1 Janissary out of that. Devastating. But yeah, we remember when Lion was forwarding so very hard. That really paid off because he was mining his opponent's resources because they were so very far forward. And Cyclops here is trying that as well. This means that if Cyclops manages to successfully hold the line here and mine all the stone away, mine all the gold from DauT, then DauT almost guaranteed loses the late game, as he will just have less resources total. This is great, because not only does Cyclops get some stone, but he also denies stone later from DauT. But he's running out of map control, like, incredibly quickly. In fact, his entire empire is crumbling before our eyes. He had to pull back all those crossmen so he couldn't apply any more pressure, because DauT knew he had the castle in his own base, he had those town centers, he just needed to survive. He created a situation in which a strategy like this, no walls, fast castle age, as the Turks against the Aztecs on Arabia, unheard of. But in this case, working out. Forward University here from Cyclops. I told you guys it's a viable strategy. You gotta throw those college tuition fees on your opponent, overwhelm them. They'll be in debt for years. There's nothing they can do to counter that. Cyclops here is going to try and lame this gold, build a house here to make it a little harder for DauT to saturate, which is smart, but this one house will not really be able to do enough damage there. DauT pushing out, Cyclops just kind of giving up here, and maybe he just committed way too hard to this forward. Not only is he going to like lose this monastery, and like he put the relic in there too, which is pretty aggressive, right? And he built a town center here. He built 2 siege workshops. He even wanted his university here. He's going to lose all these villagers. He's going to lose so much from this forward to DauT. He was just all in here, but since he had to pull back, and since the castle went up, DauT was able to get away with this. And it's all thanks to our Lord and Savior, Mr. Market. Mr. Market, guys, it's a really, really good building in the right situation. None of this would have been possible without a market. This episode brought to you by Markets. Use it to buy a castle, win a game, defeat the Aztecs. Easy sneezy. I don't actually know if DauT wins this game, but it's looking pretty promising to him as his opponent committed so hard into this forward. And like, you can't really blame Cyclops, right? Like, he just definitively has the advantage in the early game versus the Turks because he has the faster military production, the stronger early game economy. He should be snowballing off the Drush. And remember, guys, Cyclops here is also making the right play because he knows that the late game isn't necessarily favored for him. The Turks, gunpowder civ. What are the Aztecs? They're an infantry civ, so gunpowder beats infantry. That's quite bad for Cyclops in the late game. It's going to be really hard for him to deal with things like bombard cannons, mass janissaries and whatnot is possible, but it's going to be quite difficult. Now here comes the fight, but remember, +2 defense for our elite janissaries, and that means that he'll be able to trade favorably with these crossmen. Cyclops is actually engaging without the Arbalist upgrade. That means he's behind in upgrades. He's going to lose this fight. It doesn't matter that crossmen are normally favored here. They're cheaper. And, like, you have to have more of them as a result to be able to take on these janissaries. A huge power spike here. DauT taking the engagement, timing it correctly. He's taking it when he has the upgrade lead. Cyclops didn't pull out in time, but he's going to do that standard Aztec thing. Once you get to the Imperial Age, flood with the lead Eagle Warriors. Huge power spike, very hard to deal with, but this is what the Turks are built for. And this is what Cyclops is fearing. Because he wanted to stop this before DauT got out like a ton of gunpowder units, right? Because the gunpowder from this will be able to just go deal with the Eagle Warriors quite nicely. The Eagle Warriors might not actually get that much value here thanks to the castle, all these town centers, such a clustered, tight town here from DauT, doing so much damage with the janissaries, and Cyclops gonna call it GG as he can't do enough damage with these Eagle Warriors, and he has no answer to these elite janissaries. A DauT here with some unbelievably non-standard play, but absolutely brilliantly executed on this part. Cyclops really tried to put the pressure on, but it did not pay off in the end, and part of it, is just the elaborate setup, all the steps that DauT took to get this far. This strategy was absolutely crazy, insane. This is one of the coolest things I think I've seen in Age of Empires 2. This basically goes against all the rules that you would ever see in Arabia. A fast castle age with no walls versus the Aztecs as the Turks. That's pretty ambitious. But DauT here, his middle name is Ambition, and with those, with the way the map is set up, this actually worked out quite nicely. And really, like, the stars just kind of aligned for him because he was going to run out of this gold eventually. He had to saturate it so hard and use it to, buy a castle. He needed to secure some map control for himself, and he needed to get these forward golds. He needed to get these forward stones, and one of the ways that he could do that is by getting Cyclops out of his own base. How do you do that? Well, you build a strong enough defense here that you don't need units for. This is the key thing. Like, DauT needed to apply pressure on Cyclops' base without using, like, military units to go defend himself too much. He didn't want to invest too much in that so that he could apply pressure as early as possible because he's on a timer. He needs to get this. He needs to get like another gold mine. He needs to get those stone mines. And this means that by going for these extra town centers and this castle, it's like a static defense. It doesn't take any military investment on DauT's part to really defend this besides from like a mangonel or two. And then he can send his own janissaries aggressive forward into Cyclops' base. He knows that Cyclops is so heavily forwarded. Cyclops has to pull back. DauT gets all this map control. He's able to completely turn around a game in what seems to be an abysmal situation. I think a lot of players would look at this map and they'd basically just resign on the spot and give up. But DauT here, again, one man's trash is another man's treasure. He's just like, wait a minute, my main gold right next to this forest, I might be able to do this. If I steal his boar, if I go aggressive, I can win this game. Brilliant play. I loved this one, and I hope you guys enjoyed it as much as I did. Let's go check out the achievements. I am excited to go see how this one looks. What an absolutely great game here from DauT and Cyclops. This game looked really close, and, you know, if you look at the achievements, you wouldn't think that DauT was ever behind. I mean, look at this. This is absolutely ridiculous. The units killed to units lost ratio is so heavily in favor of DauT. Cyclops only got 1 building raised despite committing into battering rams, despite, you know, going forward with his own mangonels. He did not actually get to do too much damage. And perhaps the monks were, like, a little bit of an overcommitment there. You need a couple of monks to go to convert those mangonels to protect your own crossbowmen. That's why Cyclops initially invested in them. But he got a lot of upgrades for them too, and he made far more than like 3 monks. He had a lot of monks towards the end. And that was a bad matchup against those Janissaries. So I think he just needed like something else to go deal with the Janissaries, but he wasn't able to transition in time. And to be fair, I don't think anyone really expects the Turk player to play like this, right? To just not wall up, not do anything before like 20 minutes, and then buy a castle and start spamming Janissaries on Arabia. I don't think anyone really expects this, and yeah, I mean, this is one of those things where the Turks can definitely get away with it because they mine gold faster, and yeah, he went for a sort of Janissary Rush with no stone. What a bizarre game. What a bizarre game. Another thing, again, I still want to talk a little bit and emphasize this window of opportunity for DauT that allowed him to get away with this. When you go for like a Drush into a fast castle age, going for the militia really slows down your feudal age, and that allows DauT to get to the feudal age first. And if he survives the Drush, there's this window from like the, you know, the 13 to 17 minute mark where he's basically in the clear, and Cyclops' aggression just kind of peters out. It'll spike back up later, but in that meantime, DauT is able to survive, build up, and eventually push back. Because his opponent went for that 5 militia Drush, but you can see the 1 minute faster feudal age timing from DauT. He defended that really nicely with no walls. That's the crazy thing here. We've already seen, you know, in episode 1 of Break the Meta, of course, where the Koreans, you know, went for the full stone walls into war wagons. But that's the thing, you know, he went for stone walls to go do this against the Huns. DauT, fearless. A fearless fast castle age with no walls. DauT doesn't care, guys. He's going to break the meta. 1 castle, 1 Janissary at a time. Alright, as always, guys, thank you so much for your continued support, as always. I really hope that you enjoyed watching this video. If you did, feel free to go leave me a thumbs up, a like rating below, as it does help me out quite a bit. I do, of course, read all the comments, even if I don't get a chance to respond to all of them individually. I also do have plenty of other Age of Empires 2 videos on my channel, as well as videos of other games, and plenty more Break the Meta episodes. You can find links to watch all of those in the video description below, and if you enjoyed this, you'll probably like those as well. In addition, I do live stream regularly on Twitch TV, and I'd love to have you there. Feel free to go click the link on the screen or in the video description below to go head on over to my Twitch page, and if you scroll underneath the video player, you can find my live streaming schedule. I'd love to have you. It's a great place to ask me questions, interact with me, play some games, and just have fun. As always, you know, the positive reception has been phenomenal. I really appreciate it, guys. I'm working hard in this series. I hope you've all been enjoying it, and I look forward to bringing you guys more awesome Age of Empires 2 and other game content. Have a wonderful day, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and GG, well played, DauT and Cyclops. What a game. What a game.